today, and what I want to discuss is probably the two most important things, or the two things that you should think about if you're doing the golden mean. One is the approach. Why does that work? And the other one is what happens at contact. So first, let's discuss the approach. Why does a 20-degree approach, which is about like that, 20 degrees low to high, why does that work? Well, let's go to the extremes. If we have a 0-degree approach, in other words, if we go dead flat into the ball, there won't be any spin on the ball, but you'll get maximum power, so the ball is going to really go a long way. And hopefully, with no spin, it'll drop into the court. The other side of the coin is, what if you get way low and go way low to high, kind of like the windshield wiper theory that a lot of tennis professionals teach. So let's say if you get way under the ball, go way low to high, you're not going to have a spin and you're not going to have power. No power because the racket's going in the wrong direction. The racket has to go that direction to give you power. And you want to be spin because there's no compression on the strings, no friction to make that ball roll on the strings. So somewhere between this 0-degree approach and this, a almost 90-degree approach, somewhere in between there is the exact number of degrees that will give you maximum power and maximum spin. And it turns out that pros have hit millions upon millions of balls, all professional tennis players, and they universally have found out, without realizing it, that 20 degrees is the ideal approach angle. So that's about something like this. If you approach the ball at 20 degrees, you're going to get maximum power and maximum spin both. They play on each other very much. So if you have a lot of power going into the ball, you're going to have a lot of friction. That's going to give you a lot of spin. So you need both. You need both power and spin to really make that ball spin and top spin. So so the reason the 20-degree works is because that is like, we're like titrating in chemistry. We're going between maximum power here and no power and no spin, and somewhere in between there you get both, and 20 degrees is that number. So when you're playing, it sounds really silly, but what you want to do is think about going into the ball at 20 degrees. Here comes a ball my way. I want to think about going into the ball at 20 degrees until you're so used to and comfortable with that slight rise in your racket swing. 20 degrees is magic. You go 30 degrees, much less magic. 40 degrees, much less magic. So, which is the reason why we get out there a lot of times and we hit really great balls one day, and then the next day we hit terrible balls. We have no spin, it's not working right. That's because we don't know. Most players don't know that you want to go into the ball at 20 degrees. So you go out the next, you think you have it all figured out, but the next day you go out and you may be hitting 30 degrees, and the ball's not quite doing the same thing, and you don't know that you've changed your angle of approach. So 20 degrees is the magic. So when you're playing, think about going into the ball 20 degrees, and after a little while you will get the feel that this is going to give you the maximum spin and the maximum power, and it will feel good to you. After a while, 20 degrees will become automatic. You won't have to think about it. Now, the other thing that happens is when you contact the ball, if you're going into and up at 20 degrees, the ball needs to roll on your racket a little bit. Now, a really strange thing about a ball rolling on your racket is that you can't see it. If you videotape it in slow motion, it will look like the ball comes off your racket without a lick of roll. But it feels, you can feel the ball roll on your racket. Even though it's a very microscopic roll, you can feel it happening, and you can feel when it doesn't happen. So in a minute, I'm going to hit a couple balls. I'm going to bong one and hit a couple more that let the ball roll on the racket. There's a very different feel between the two, and even though you can't see it in a video, you can definitely feel the difference. And what you need to do is, when you're going into the ball at 20 degrees, number two is you want to feel the ball rolling on your strings. So you want to go like this, and then get that feeling of the ball rolling. And once you do it once or twice or 3 times, you'll know what I'm talking about. And after a very short time, you'll be able to make every ball roll on your strings. And when you do that, you're going to have incredible control. You're going to get great topspin. So when you're playing, think, if you're not used to the golden mean, think 20 degrees into the ball and let it roll. Make it roll on your strings. And once you do that, you'll hardly miss a stroke. You're going to get balls that are really dipping into the court. So I'm going to set this slow motion camera up so that I'll hit a few bongers that go right off without any topspin or any roll, and I'll hit a few rollers, and you'll see that you can't tell the difference between the two. So visually, feel-wise, you can really feel it, which is really weird. I don't know why you can feel something you can't see, but I'm going to put a few short clips on of some of the best topspin professional hitters on the tour, and you will be able to see that the ball just bongs off their strings. It looks like it's bonging. It's not rolling on the strings like so many pros teach. It just goes off just instantaneously, but there is a little bit of difference between when they hit heavy topspin and when the ball bongs off their strings with no spin. There is a difference. You can feel it. You can probably see it with a microscope, but on a video, it doesn't show up at all. So here's a few professional tennis players hitting topspin shots, and please note that the ball does not roll on their strings. But you will make it roll on your strings. You will feel it doing that. So, okay, here's the king of topspin, Nadal. The ball hardly rolls at all on his strings, but he still winds up with tremendous topspin. Okay, here's Federer, the assistant king of topspin, and you can see that the ball bongs off his strings. It doesn't look like it rolls at all. It comes off so quickly. Okay, here's the same thing with Nadal. Ball comes quickly off the strings. You can't see a roll. Okay, here's a diagram of the 20-degree approach angle. And I just put a racket up there to let you know what you should feel. Not what you'll see, not what actually happens, but what you will feel. You'll feel the ball rolling down the strings of your racket just slightly. Now I had the ball hitting the racket just a little above center there, because if you're changing directions at the ball, this will give you just a little leeway. It'll correct a little bit of error if you go slightly too quickly. So maybe hit the ball just a little above center. Okay, here I'm going to hit a couple balls out of hand. The first two I hit are going to be dead flat. I'm not going to have any roll on the strings. And take a look at them, because the next two hits will be with heavy topspin, and you'll see that visually in a slow motion video you can't tell the difference. So this hit here is just a bong. There's no roll. And notice the ball kind of flies. Okay, in these two hits, I'm hitting heavy topspin. Ball's going to go over the net and drop down steeply into the court. But if you take a look, the contact looks exactly the same on video. It isn't, and like I say, you can feel the roll with your hands and your finger. You can feel that ball roll, and that's what you want to get. That's when you'll really get the golden mean, is when you can feel the ball rolling on your strings. One more here. Another heavy topspin ball, and you'll notice that the ball just goes instantly off the racket. It does not roll. This ball has heavy topspin on it. See how it drops down into the court 4 or 5 feet inside the baseline. Okay, so let's finish with a little bit of Rafa here. Notice his approach into the ball is about 20 degrees. When he gets to the ball, he's going to radically change direction. And what he's doing is compressing the ball, and the ball will then roll on his strings, and that's where he gets his tremendous topspin from. About 20 degrees and bong, straight up at contact. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video, and that's it for this one. And if you have any questions, let me know down below, and that's it for today.